Many years ago, in the beautiful city of Amazi, there lived a very wealthy man called Chief Donatus. Chief Donatus had chains of businesses littered all over the country. However, Chief Donatus was a widower. His wife Ijeoma, who had stood with him through thick and thin, had died while giving birth to their last son. Chief Donatus was so heartbroken, but he vowed never to remarry until his three sons finished secondary school at least. So Chief Donatus stopped traveling so frequently so that he would spend some more time with his sons. Donatus had three sons named Kanayo, Ugo, and Oke. And despite the fact that he was very wealthy and had several aides and people working for him, Donatus was very intentional about raising his sons. He would drive them to school every morning, even though he had drivers that could easily do that. And he always made sure to come back from work early enough so that he would have dinner with his children. He also created time despite his busy schedule to take his boys swimming or sometimes to the field to play football with them. Donatus was very intentional about raising his sons. So things continued like this between Donatus and his three sons. 15 years later, Donatus' sons Kanayo, Ugo, and Oke had grown into young men and were now all in the university. Donatus was very proud of himself for how he raised his children, and he was also very proud of himself for keeping to his word of not remarrying until his sons had grown and come of age. Donatus felt that since he was done raising his children, that it was time for him to get a wife, a beautiful woman that would take care of him and look after him. So Donatus' search for a wife began. And after a few months, he finally found the woman he wanted to marry. Her name was Chisom. Chisom was very pretty and very young. As a matter of fact, she was 20 years younger than Donatus. But Donatus did not care because that was exactly what he wanted. A young and vibrant lady that would keep his blood pumping. So a few months later, Chief Donatus got married to Chisom in a lavish traditional wedding ceremony. Although his sons could not attend because they were in school and were writing their exams. Chisom was so happy. She was now the wife to a very wealthy man just like that. Chief Donatus, on the other hand, spoiled her silly. He showered Chisom with so much money and so much love. He even bought a new car for her and even allowed her to hire two personal maids to do her bidding. Chisom was literally a pampered, spoiled, stay-at-home wife who simply came to eat Chief's money. Chisom was so happy, and in turn, she took very good care of Chief, cooking healthy, delicious meals for him and also satisfying him in the other room. Chief Donatus too was very happy. So Donatus and Chisom continued to live happily. Few months later, Chief Donatus' sons were on break and they all came back home to see their father. And that was when they all met their father's new wife Chisom for the first time. Kanayo, who was the eldest, was very shocked at the young lady who his father had married. When he heard that his father was getting married, he imagined that it would be someone in his father's age bracket. But to see a vibrant, succulent, beautiful, feminine young lady was quite shocking. He wasn't prepared for this at all. Chisom was also very shocked. She wasn't prepared to have a very handsome young man that was also in her age bracket as a stepson. There was nothing stepsonish in his body. This was a full-bodied, able young man. Chief Donatus, on the other hand, was just so excited to reunite with his boys again. The holidays were going on just fine. However, Kanayo couldn't help but stare at Chisom, his father's wife, a second time each time she passed. Chisom was very beautiful. She was Kanayo's full spec. She was curvy and pretty. And Chisom wasn't helping matters either. She wore skimpy clothes around the house, exposing her thighs and voluptuous breast. And this got Kanayo aroused each time he was around her. At night, Kanayo would lay awake on his bed, thinking about Chisom. He wanted to have her. He wanted just a taste of her. But he knew that this was wrong by every standard. For God's sake, that was his father's wife, as in his stepmother. Kanayo was very frustrated. He was battling within himself for lusting after his father's wife. Chisom, on the other hand, was also feeling very uneasy where she was. At night, when she laid on the same bed with her husband, Chief Donatus, her mind would wander away, thinking and lusting after her husband's son, her stepson. Her body wanted a taste of a young, vibrant, able-bodied man, not the old man laying beside her. She knew that it was wrong, but she vowed that she was going to have Kanayo, no matter what it may take. So Chisom became much more intentional. Usually, it was the maids that served the brothers, Kanayo, Ugo, and Oke, all their meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But whenever Chief Donatus was not around, Chisom would carry Kanayo's food and come and serve him, while bending down strategically to expose her breast. Sometimes she would also pretend to drop something in front of him and then bend down seductively to pick it up. Kanayo knew exactly what she was doing. For crying out loud, he was a happening young man and knew all these antics. He knew that his father's wife was inviting him to share her bed with her. After a few days, Kanayo could no longer control himself around his father's wife. Every second, his thoughts were on Chisom. He always imagined himself sleeping with her. Kanayo knew that if he continued to stay in that house, it was only going to be a matter of time for him to act on it. So he walked up to his father one day and came up with an excuse for him to go back to school, and then packed his bags and left the house for school. But when Chisom learned that her stepson Kanayo had gone back to school, she was visibly upset and disappointed. But she decided that not even that was going to stop her from sleeping with Kanayo. So a few days later, she walked up to Ugo, Kanayo's immediate younger brother, and said, "Ugo Biko, can you give me your brother's number? I need to confirm something from him." Chisom said with a smile on her face. And Ugo innocently went ahead to give her the number. Kanayo was in his hostel one evening when he started receiving several messages. And when he opened it, he was shocked to see messages from his stepmother. She was sending in several text messages, professing her undying love for him. She even went as far as sending him her nude pictures. Kanayo was frustrated. What kind of temptation is this, Bikono? She may have left the house for her. Now why is she sending me crazy pictures? Kanayo said aloud to himself, looking troubled. He decided not to respond to any of her messages. But a few days later, and Chisom was still flooding him with pictures and messages. And it was only a matter of time. And Kanayo began to respond to those messages. Inasmuch as he knew that it was wrong, he still wanted to have a taste of what he was seeing. So he began to chat with her even more frequently. And in a couple of days, they graduated from just chatting to talking over the phone for several hours. Chisom was so happy. And in a matter of weeks, Kanayo was back to his father's house. His father was very surprised to see him and said, Kanayo, you're back again? I thought school was in session. Besides, your younger brothers just went back to school, so what are you doing here?" Chief Donatus asked, looking very shocked. Well, Dad, The faculty gave us a week break to do a short project. So I decided to come home and do the project so that I can concentrate and give it my best. You know that I'm in my final year now, so I have to put in my very best effort. Kanayo replied convincingly, and his father believed him. So over the next few days, Kanayo and Chisom, whenever they were alone, began gisting and hanging out together in the house. And before they knew what was happening, Kanayo and Chisom had begun sleeping with each other. Each time Chief Donatus went to work, his wife and son would begin playing like kids, giggling and laughing, and would even sometimes end up sleeping together on Chief Donatus's bed. Even the maids had seen them together a few times. And so, after a few days, Kanayo went back to school, and his relationship with Chisom, his stepmother, blossomed even more. Sometimes, Chisom would even travel all the way to Kanayo's school, and they would lodge in a hotel for days. Kanayo even went as far as introducing Chisom, who was his stepmother, to his friends as his girlfriend. And things continued like this till Kanayo graduated from the university. So after Kanayo graduated, he pretended that he was super interested in the family business and so went back home instead of taking a regular job elsewhere. Donatus was very happy when his son Kanayo told him of his interest to join the family business, because he was never of the opinion that a child should be forced to join the family business. So he welcomed Kanayo with open arms. So Kanayo began to follow his father to work every blessed day. But unknown to Chief Donatus, that the main reason why his son came to join the business was so that he could be closer to his wife Chisom. So Chisom and Kanayo continued to date under Donatus's nose, yet he did not know. Even though by this time, most of the housemates knew, as they had seen them sleeping together on several occasions. One day, Kanayo and Chisom had gone out to a restaurant together when Kanayo looked at Chisom and said, "Chisom, let us run away and get married. Please leave my father. He does not deserve you. I can take very good care of you. I work with my dad now, so I can embezzle enough money for us to run away and start a new life in a new city." Kanayo said very passionately. And Chisom replied and said, "I am in, please. I am completely in. As you see me, I'm tired of warming an old man's bed. I need a young, vibrant man like yourself." Chisom replied, laughing. And so from that day, they began meeting more frequently to come up with their perfect escape plan. A few weeks later, with the help of some of his father's staff, whom he had settled and bribed, Kanayo was able to steal 70 million naira from his father's company. So one day, they waited for Chief Donatus to go to work, and then Kanayo and Chisom ran away. They packed all their belongings and the 70 million naira and relocated to Lagos. Kanayo and Chisom were very excited. Meanwhile, later that day, Chief Donatus came back home from work, only to find the house empty. His son and wife were nowhere to be found, just the maids. So he called one of the maids and said, "Anda, where is my son and my wife? Why is this whole house empty?" Chief Donatus asked, Sir? Sir?" Anda replied, fidgeting. "Which one is sir, sir? I asked a very simple question, and you're here stammering." Chief Donatus replied, looking very worried. Then Anda answered and said, "Oga, they don't travel. Oh. They left the house together this morning with their bags. I'm not sure they will come back. Oh." Anda replied, fidgeting. "Which one is they travel? They will not come back." What does that even mean? Come on, open your mouth and talk. Where did they go to? What is happening? Chief Donatus asked, looking very scared. Oga, no vex o. But things have been happening in this house. Madam and your son, e be like say two of them be lovers o, and they don waka comot. They run away o. Sorry oga, no vex. Anda replied sadly, lovers ke, my own wife and my son. You must be joking. Chief Donatus replied as he stormed off. He went to his room and opened his wife's wardrobe, only to see that it was actually empty. It had been swept clean. Then he went to his son's room too, and also noticed that his wardrobe was empty. As a matter of fact, the room was looking very deserted. By this time, Chief Donatus was already fidgeting. He hoped and prayed that it was not what he thought it was. Then, just to be sure, he went over to his security room to check the CCTV camera, only for him to get the shock of his life. His son, his first son, and wife had been frolicking around under his roof for a very long time. Chief Donatus did not know when he busted out into tears. Ah, Kanayo! Kanayo, how can you do this to me after all that I have sacrificed for you? Kanayo, of all the women in the world, why did you choose to sleep with my wife? Ah, Kanayo! Chief Donatus wailed loudly. And you, Chisom, after all that I have done for you, my wife and my son, you both have killed me. Chief Donatus wailed loudly. Over the next few days, he locked himself in his room, crying and weeping profusely. The maid stayed in the kitchen, gossiping about their boss and what his son and wife had done to him. They all felt very bad for him because Chief Donatus was very good to them and did not deserve to be treated the way he was by his wife and son. And so, a few days later, Chief Donatus fell very sick because of how his wife and his son had betrayed him. He was so sick that he had to be hospitalized. And so at this point, the doctor had to contact his two younger sons, Ugo and Oke. Ugo had already finished writing his final exams, so they both rushed back home to see their dad. Upon seeing their dad in the hospital bed and hearing all that their older brother and stepmother had done, they were so upset with their brother. Ugo tried calling his older brother and stepmother, but their both numbers were not reachable. Meanwhile, Kanayo and Chisom continued to enjoy their lives together. They had settled down in Lagos and were already having the time of their lives. They had not yet started any business with the money that Kanayo stole. They were simply partying, clubbing, and living the Lagos lifestyle. They did not feel a single remorse for what they had done to Chief Donatus. Chief Donatus, on the other hand, was not getting any better. It was already 3 months since he was hospitalized due to the heartbreak he suffered. Yet, he was not responding to treatment, despite the doctor's best efforts. So a few weeks later, Chief Donatus' heart could not take it any longer, and so he died. Ugo and Oke, his two younger sons, broke down in tears, weeping profusely. Yet again, they tried to reach their older brother Kanayo, but his number was not reachable. Kanayo and Chisom were living their lives, enjoying themselves. However, 2 years later, Kanayo fell sick. Initially, he thought it was just something minor and went to the hospital. But he realized that he was not getting any better. Despite several hospital visits and undergoing several tests, the doctors could not say what the problem was. And soon enough, he began to spend most of his father's money that he stole on medical bills. Kanayo was very sad. Initially, Chisom was very supportive, but after a while, she got tired of Kanayo's sickness. This was not what she bargained for at all. So one day, she stole the remaining money that Kanayo had stolen from his father, Chief Donatus, and fled to start her life afresh. When Kanayo found out, he was broken and wept all day. Here he was battling with his health, and now Chisom had left him and had taken all the money that he stole from his father. So there was no way for him to even afford medical treatment. Kanayo was so sad. He wondered why his life was going so badly. So he decided to start going to churches for prayers to see if God would heal him and take away these strange ailments from him. And it was during one particular prayer session that the pastor revealed to him that his father had cursed him after what he did, and that he needed to go back home and beg for forgiveness. By this time, Kanayo was so desperate, so he packed up what was left of his belongings and traveled back home. But upon getting to his father's house, the security at the gate refused to let him in. And so Kanayo screamed angrily at the security guard and said, "How dare you? Do you know who I am? I am the first son of my father, and this is my father's house." Kanayo screamed at the man angrily. But the security man wouldn't budge, saying that he was under strict instructions from his oga not to let him in. But Kanayo continued to shout and threaten the security. He was literally making a scene. So Ugo, who had been observing the drama from the balcony, had no choice than to come down and see his brother. Then he looked at his brother and said, "Kanayo, what are you doing here? Please just leave. You're not welcome here." Ugo said to his brother sternly, "Are you okay? Ugo? What gave you the right to talk to me that way? Have you forgotten that I am your older brother? Besides, this is my father's house and I'm not even here to see you. So you are not in any position to tell me not to enter my father's house. And I'm also the first son." Kanayo replied angrily, Hey, did you just hear yourself? So after what you did to dad, running away with his wife, you still have the guts to show your face here. Don't you have shame? Do you know that daddy died of heart attack because of what you and that useless woman did to him? Daddy is dead because of you, and you're here claiming first son. Anyway, in case you do not know, let me tell you, daddy cursed you before he died. And not just that, he cursed the day that he gave birth to you, and he disowned you too. So you are no longer our brother, and myself and OK want absolutely nothing to do with you. So please get out of my house. Ugo screamed angrily, and then Kanayo broke down in tears. Dad is dead? What have I done? What have I done? Kanayo said, wailing loudly. But Ugo paid no attention to him and simply walked back inside. Kanayo had nowhere to go. He also had no money on him. So he just left and began to wander the streets. He did not have any money to manage his sickness, as Chisom had left him penniless. So he began to sit by the roadside, begging for money to even eat. Kanayo became a street beggar. And he was still very sick. He was not getting better. Sometimes he prayed and wished to die, but death refused to take him. Meanwhile, OK, Chief Donatus' third son, later graduated and joined the family business. He and his brother Ugo went ahead to get married and start their own families and raise children. Ugo and OK managed the family's business well, and they were very prosperous. Chisom, on the other hand, had found another wealthy old man to marry and milk dry, just as she had done to Chief Donatus. Kanayo was so sad, he was so remorseful, and he wished he could turn back the hands of time, but it was too late. Hi besties, it's your favorite storyteller, Omalicha. Thank you so much for watching my story to the end. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. So who do you think is at fault here? Is it Chisom or Kanayo or Chief Donatus? Like, shouldn't Chief Donatus have known better? Like, why would he marry such a young lady, knowing that the lady is within the same age range as his son? It's more or less like saying, how do you buy a goat and buy a yam and put a goat and yam together and not expect the goat to eat the yam? So who do you think is at fault in this whole equation? Is it Donatus for marrying such a young lady and bringing her home? Or is it Kanayo for sleeping with his stepmother? Or is it Chisom for sleeping with her stepson? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and please support your homegirl, Omalicha, by subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, and sharing with your loved ones. So now, till I come your way again with more interesting stories, bye!